Hi everyone, this is E, the empty nester. How are you today? It's about 10:45 a.m. here in Missouri, and I'm doing a live chat today. And from yesterday's video, I had someone ask if I would talk about the symptoms of the carcinoid tumor, and what led me to go seek help. And I've, over the past videos, shared little bits here and there, and, um, really didn't know that, my audience would be interested, but it does make sense to record some of this for possibly helping someone in the future searching for answers. Because myself, I search for answers all the time. Back then, when I was getting sick, it started in a long time ago, getting sick, the fatigue, and I just never knew it. I thought it was like carcinoid syndrome. It's a carcinoid tumor that I was at the end stage of where it was complete and blocking my tumors. I mean, blocking my intestines. Sorry, let me get my glasses. Hi, Gary. I hope you don't mind listening to this, and if you have any questions, jump right in. But it was when you look up symptoms, it's called carcinoid syndrome, and it's has hot flashes, flushing and things like that. So a lot of things that I thought were something else in the past were the beginnings of cancer, and I thought it was like um, some of the pains I thought was possibly what's they called ovarian cyst, and it was a spike of pain from the tumor starting. Because even right now I'll get pains that should be that, and it's not. It's from the carcinoid cancer, and the leftover damage of it, and surgery and removal. But I read that carcinoid syndrome only is kind of rare, or carcinoid tumors are rare, that maybe only 12% of the population get cancer. But if you really think about it, after reading all this, maybe it's so low and so rare because another one that I read said that a lot of times they don't find carcinoid cancer until the person's dead and they do an autopsy. The only way to find it is like blood work or MRI imaging, CAT scans. You have to have the radiation put in you, like a PET scan, seeking out possible cancer. And when I first went in there, they did a CAT scan or MRI, I forgot which one, but it showed the tumors, and then they went back and did the other one. So I had both the MRI and the CAT scan, and they saw the tumors, they saw the other things, possibly in the lymph nodes, but instead of going right to the cancer center and right to surgery, there wasn't enough clues for them. They didn't do a blood work test that showed that it was carcinoid cancer, either that or they did do a blood work test and it didn't show up in my blood that it was cancer. So they sent me to a GI doctor, and I had a colonoscopy, and it was a failure too. That guy saw, I'm not blaming the doctor, but he saw on the MRI and CAT scan that the tumor was in there, but he went like this, stopped this far away from finding the tumor. So if he would have went a little further, it's possible he would have just snipped out the tumor and had it biopsied, and I would have never had this problem with surgery. But I also would have continued living with my lymph nodes full of cancer, and that would have, it would have stopped the problem and not gave me this ostomy, but it also would have kept me sick and kept me with cancer until I got, the lymph nodes removed. So it's a scary thought there. And then a lot of the symptoms were the same as irritable bowel. And at first, believe it or not, Google is a really good search engine. You put in your symptoms, and it comes up with this, this, and this. And it was leading towards Crohn's disease for me. And then the hospital, their diagnosis was it's either Crohn's or it's cancer. And my thoughts were, actually, it's better to have the cancer than the Crohn's, because Crohn's is a lifetime commitment of being sick. It's all kinds of either vomiting, diarrhea, food problems. In May, I got to the point I couldn't eat anything but mild vegetables, potatoes, eggplants, and asparagus. The anything like nuts made me extremely sick. And what happens with nuts is it's another thing called diverticulitis or something like that. When you eat nuts, they go in, and then your intestines have rings inside of them, and they can go in and catch on the rings and then build up. Where, let's say this is my intestines, and I had a tumor here. The nuts came down and then hit this, and then packed in, and then just built up a great big bulge that blocked everything off, and only liquid could get through, and everything else just backed up and came out. And I know that it's awful to say that, but that's what happened. I got to the point I couldn't live anymore. I couldn't eat anymore. I couldn't function, so I had to seek medical help. And then it's right now the opposite. I can't eat the vegetables. I can eat the meat. So after having ileostomy, things changed. But if it weren't for my intestines, they actually cut me open, took out the cancer from the lymph nodes and the tumor, and sewed me back together. And my colon on the right side, it died. It came apart, and everything that I had eaten went into my body cavity and created sepsis. And I pretty much died, or almost died. My daughter made sure that, I had a do not resuscitate, a DNR on my records, and she didn't let that happen. They put me on a resuscitator and cut me back open and kept me alive, on a breathing machine, and then tubes inside of me pulling everything out, to keep me living. And then memory wise, all I have a memory of, because it's called Dilaudid, they gave you a really hardcore drug. I looked down and I had, like, say 8 to 10 inches worth of staples that connected the other 8 or 10 inches up here of, I had my gallbladder taken out in '02, so right now I got like a full zipper, and they put like 4 holes in my stomach and then stuffed them full of what looked like steel wool and a hose, sucking out all the it was E. coli and staph that was in my stomach. And I had those tubes in there for a week, and then I went home with a tube in me, and it was probably a month or two of tubes, clearing out my stomach. But it was drama and trauma. Is that Shirley? I don't have my glasses. Thanks for the education. You're welcome. I'm glad you guys listen. And some of this Shirley, and some of it I may or may not told you, because it takes a lot more energy to type. And a lot of this I didn't know until I went back on my Facebook page. And Facebook, 1 minute everything's there, the next minute nothing's there, and then the next minute there's other things. So I went from time to time to time learning more of what happened to me those 2 weeks, and I had no clue that happened. I thought that it just one day, the surgery was fine. The next day I turned look down and there's an ostomy bag and this stuff coming out of my stomach. It was like, huh, what happened? And it turns out they sent me home and it failed at home and I got took back to the hospital. So I don't have that memory. And it's pretty good, I think, now that I didn't have that memory because part of carcinoid syndrome is anxiety, depression, and panic is coming in too now, because I'm panicking. The least little thing puts me into a panic now. So part of this is mental. You're going through trauma, and there's people that say, look at it as there are other people who have worse things like, um, losing a limb, losing this, losing that. But I actually lost something too. I lost some of me too. But so they don't understand. And then I've got, some people in my life that think that I should just get up and start doing things and I'll be all better. But there's a website called Ostomy Mate, and I found that what's going on with me is normal, that there are people that are going through this and up to a year still can't push a vacuum. And I was in a wheelchair for a while, and there was people in there that actually had to go through therapy and learn how to walk again from the surgery. So there's a lot of good information on the internet that lets you know you're not alone. What's happening to you is normal, and not everything that happened to them happens to you, and not everything that happens to me will happen to you. And then from reading the surgery I'm having Tuesday, there's not a lot of success on the internet, posted, but some, are starting to put their success stories up. So, some of the fear is going away, that there's a good chance possibly that this will work. And like they were saying to me, they've already programmed me that this may not work, that my intestines may not stick together, and I may have to have a lobotomy. And he drew a picture of what a lobotomy is, and let's see if you can see this. As it is right now, I've got a hole right here that in my stomach, and my belly button is right. We'll say my belly button is right here, and right here is where my small intestine is coming out, and I've got a bag covering it. They're going to release those two, and then sew them together right here, and then come further down in my small intestine and bring this back up and just cut a hole in it to where this side is completely normal and I only have a small hole, where this side nothing will go in it and this side stuff will come out of it. In some of the videos I've watched, they put a bar between here, and I don't know if I'm going to have a bar sticking out of my stomach or not holding this up. But this is giving this right here a chance to heal. And hopefully the rest of my intestine won't die. And, it's giving me 3 months, 4 months of living like this. And watching videos on a lobotomy, actually, some of the other failures, are, watching how they live with their lobotomy kind of made me sick, because I'm already sick enough dealing with the pain and torture of ileostomy, and it being flush with the skin, and stuff going under the bag, and it burns you like diaper rash. This may be too gory for some of you to listen to, and I apologize, but there's some people out there that are going to experience this. And if I watched a video like I'm talking to you about right now, I would know. I want to talk to that person. I want to know more. I want to know I've got hope. I want to know I have a future. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and talk about this stuff. And, I thought about showing, what it's like for me, but there's so many videos on ileostomies that you can search and see for yourself. But there's not any showing the um, trauma of your skin burnt to death. You know, like you put your hand in a fire and blood red and bleeding when you change it. And that's actually probably too much gore, but that's what I go through. And there's been times that I wake up and everything in this bag, it explodes out the back, the glue gives, and you wake up covered in stuff and you have to scream for help. Otherwise, you're going to pour stuff all over the floor. So you actually can't go anywhere, for fear of, causing an issue that's pretty, traumatizing mentally. So, if I have to go to a loop ostomy instead of regular getting fixed, I think you're doing a good job letting others know. Thanks, Shirley. There's 7 people in the room now, and what do you call it? I've went ahead and made an appointment for a therapist. Not a psychiatrist, but a therapist, because I mentally am going to need help to get through this if I end up with a loop ostomy or a permanent ostomy, because I don't want to live this way. And, sorry, it's like, I'm not saying I want to kill myself or anything. I just need help. I need someone to help me, because was a normal person. I know, just like you, how to deal with life. But I can't continue with the trauma mentally. It's kind of like PTSD, as in I didn't go to war, but I had something tragic happen to me. And I kind of needed some help to get through it, or continue to go through it if I don't get Success Tuesday. And that's why Tuesday is so important to me, and why I need to be back to normal. And I know that there are people, on ostomymate.com, some people have lived with ostomies for 40 years, and the majority of them are colonoscopies, and the difference is, maybe I'll show you on this paper, or actually I need a stomach picture. What do you call it? This is my small intestine, and back here is my large intestine that's up there. And all I have, let me show you on my stomach. Okay, all I have on my stomach right now, if you want to, I need some answers. Do you want to see kind of what's going on here? And it's not going to be full-blown gore, I need some comments in the comments of yes, show me. Otherwise, I'm not gonna show, from me. But I'll leave it up as this for right now. But the colonoscopy is the large intestine right here. All I have is from right here down, left of my colon. And a colonoscopy, they cut you open there and put the bag there. And you have actual stool that comes out there that's hard. And where an ileostomy is your small intestine, it comes out liquid and it comes out fast and it doesn't stay in your body for long. And that's the difference between the two. But I'm not going to show it because I'm not getting comments of anyone, wanting to see, on my stomach itself. So we'll leave that a mystery too. But it's, something, that needs to be done. I got comments here. Okay, Shirley wants to see it. But this is just an example, on my stomach right here. This is the bag, and there's this area right here is where they call it a stoma. That's where my small intestine comes out. And then above it right here is a hole, and that's my large intestine. And over here, this is something that holds the bag on. This is where the surgery was. And I'm not going to show you all the holes, but there's some really big holes right here that I had to pack, to get to regrow skin, from the surgery. But, this is just going to be a short peek, but all I have is from this hole right here down of large intestine, and that's like 12 to 18 inches of large intestine is all I have left. And I'm sorry for those, you're welcome, thank you, but, it's, what do you call that? Let me show you a bag. Or the backing of a bag. Oops, I'm sorry. Dropped it. I hope the video didn't lose sound. Let me check. I'm turning my computer on to see if I'm still here. Oh, I don't have it. But, this is the back, this is what's glued onto my stomach, and you cut a hole out right here. Okay, great, thank you. And put it over this spot right here. You put it over there, and then, the bag itself snaps onto this ring right here. And then there's some different kinds of bags where it just all glues on. And this one I need the most because I can cut the hole bigger and put a cream called Ilex, I-L-E-X, on it. And then put Vaseline on it, trying to heal up the burn that's on my stomach. Because fluids, instead of coming out on the bag, they'll build up and go under the bag and create a leak. And it is some serious burning, and serious torture. But I never thought I'd be making a video like this, but it's best that I go ahead and do this just in case, because everything happens for a reason. And even though my channel is not an ostomy channel, it's, and you're not here to see this. Most of you aren't, it's possible maybe I can help someone else like me, and I appreciate you watching. Someone else left the room, and, thank you for watching. But I'm going to keep it we're at 22 minutes, and if there's any questions, I'll give it a minute to answer the questions. Otherwise, I'm going to close for now, and thank you all for your time. See. You're welcome, Gary. Thank you for listening. Thank you, John. I appreciate the prayers. And you guys, had no clue, I needed the mental help, to survive this mentally. It's kind of like you were picking me up off my back and giving me some reasons to keep going. I'll close for now. Thank you. Bye-bye.